the beach, and we will be following a young juvenile T-Rex called Matthew. Matthew is stalking a young juvenile Brachiosaurus, but Matthew must be careful because the mother Brachiosaurus is with her baby. If Matthew gets too close to the baby and the Brachiosaurus notices, there will be trouble. So, Matthew takes the approach of slowly walking towards it, trying to make the older Brachiosaurus not notice it. Matthew is getting closer until he sees a shadow. This shadow is nonetheless of an adult T-Rex. Matthew slowly heads towards the juvenile Brachiosaurus. Matthew is closer now, but is still wary that the T-Rex is there watching him. Matthew bites the juvenile. The young Brachiosaurus lets out a loud cry, telling the mother that she's in trouble. The mother Brachiosaurus turns forward to her baby and sees a very frightening sight. The adult T-Rex is surprised by the adult Brachiosaurus' movements and lunges forward towards the Brachiosaurus. The other dinosaurs flee at this terrifying sight. Matthew is enjoying his lunch until the T-Rex knocks him with his tail. And the T-Rex attacks the Brachiosaurus. Matthew is badly injured and needs to run away. Matthew is struggling to get up, but he does somehow get up and he flees. The T-Rex is enjoying its meal until it sees Matthew run. This sudden movement intrigues the Tyrannosaurus, and it runs towards Matthew. Matthew hears the Tyrannosaurus Rex and runs up towards the mountain. Matthew struggles to get up, and he falls, but he gets up and runs for his life. Matthew has reached the top of the mountain. He looks back and sees the Tyrannosaurus Rex. The T-Rex is climbing the mountain too, but he's so heavy the mountain cannot sustain the T-Rex's body weight, and eventually he falls. The T-Rex eventually falls and dies. Matthew is satisfied with his hunger, but he's thirsty from all that running. Matthew sees the ocean and he heads towards it. Matthew is just a juvenile Tyrannosaurus, so he's not a very good swimmer. So what Matthew likes to do is just wait until the tide comes in and sips that. Matthew can see the tide coming in. It's coming closer, but not close enough. Matthew needs to go closer to the wave, but he must be careful, because if he drowns, he will die. Not only does Matthew have to be careful on land, Matthew must also be careful in water. There are lots of dangerous creatures in the water, and Matthew must be careful. Matthew is enjoying the water, but the tide seems to not be coming in very well. Matthew just waits. It's very agitating for Matthew as he's very thirsty. Matthew sees the tide coming in and quickly goes for a gulp. Matthew is now satisfied with his thirst and continues to find food. This has been an exciting day for Matthew, but now Matthew must rest. A good thing about being a juvenile T-Rex is that you can hide in small places that adult T-Rexes could not. So, he finds a log buried in the sand, sees a sloth, and he decides that's where he's going to stay. Matthew sees where he's going to stay, and he starts to dig. But what Matthew doesn't know is that he's being stalked by an Allosaurus. Matthew is now finished digging and is ready to have a cat nap. Matthew just goes inside his little resting area and starts to sleep. But what is bad about Matthew's hidey hole is that he is not covered from sight. The Allosaurus can see him and is looming closer. The Allosaurus is as quiet as a ghost. Matthew does not sense he is near. And then the Allosaurus goes for the attack. Matthew Matthew awakes in pain and pushes the Allosaurus away from him. Matthew knows he is no match for the Allosaurus and runs. Matthew tries to find a place to hide on top of the log. The Allosaurus looms closer with every step. Matthew does not have much time to find a hiding place, or he will be eaten. The Allosaurus knocks Matthew down off the log. Matthew quickly regains consciousness and runs. Matthew runs into the forest without knowing what is it. The Allosaurus is faster than Matthew, and he will get Matthew if Matthew does not hide. Matthew has no choice. He jumps into the piles of leaves and hopes the Allosaurus does not notice him. And Matthew is safe. The Allosaurus does not notice Matthew at all. The Allosaurus eventually turns back and looks for some other food. Matthew has made it. He has survived one of the toughest days he has had in his life. By each day, he will grow stronger and stronger.